Hi, this is a quick video on how to create a generic version of a quiz as far as a generic question bank question, and then the steps involved with that. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to the quizzes. So on the menu, you're going to go to quizzes, and you're going to find whichever one you're going to do. If it is already a quiz, if it's like a homework, you're going to start with the homework itself. So for example, this is quiz U, quiz one. So I'm going to go to the question portion of it. So I want to edit it to be able to copy it. So I'm going to copy, and then I'm going to go over to the question bank. So to get to the question banks, you click on quizzes, and then you're going to click the three little dots, and then manage question banks. And so the question banks are where you want to actually create the generic questions. So I'm going to scroll down to, this is a Circuit U, so I want to go to the original Circuit U problems, and I'm going to create a new one. So I'm going to add a question. I'm going to paste in what I just copied, and then I'm going to call it the title of this one, which was Circuit U quiz 1. And then I'm going to copy over. I have to do the exact answer. This is a numerical answer, so change it to the same type of question. And then exact answer is -6. And then margin 0. And then I'm going to delete the other options so that it matches exactly what was on there. And then I'm going to update the question. So then each one of these, so this is actually, I'm going to call this, because there's multiple ones in here, I'm going to call this one problem 1. And then I'm going to copy, I'm going to add another question and do question 2. So this will be question 2. I'm going to copy the problem again. And then this one, the second one asks for, so I'm actually going to copy this portion of it. Instead of having enter the correct numerical value for number 1, I'm going to do enter the correct numerical value for box 2. And then I'm going to go to exact number, or it's already a numerical number, so keep that one. And then this one is a -3. Update the question, and then I'm going to do the same thing for the next questions. So this will be question 3. And I'm going to copy all these over. And then question 3, the numerical answer is 18. And then I'm going to do the same thing for 4 and 5. I'm just going to put these in right now since I have both of those already copied. And then 4. So box 4 is number -3. And since I put 4 first, this one's going to be, this part was going to be 5. Guess I didn't copy the whole thing. Let's see. Circuit U, quiz 3, copy. So this one is going to be number 5, and this one's going to be 4. So I have 4 done. So then I'm going to copy the question from 5, which is enter the correct numerical answer for box 5. So I can either just copy it or just put in 5 there, and the exact answer is 3. And then I want to just double check all of these that they are correct. So I can refresh the page and then show question details, and then that will show me that for box 1, it should have I times R, so 3 times 2 should be 6, and then the orientation is backwards, or is opposite each other, so it is -6. So that one is correct. And then this one for box 2 should have a -3. And this one for box 3 should have 12 minus 6, so it should be 12 minus a -6, so it should be 12 plus 6, so that is 18, that's correct. And then this one is a -3 because of the direction of the arrow for box 4. And this is box 5, which is also the same direction, so it should be a +3. And then in here, each of these should be pretty straightforward, but students may not know, so I'm going to actually put in here a solution. So I'm just going to write in here, V is equal to I times R, just so the students, I times R, I equals 3 amps. I'm going to actually substitute IS, so I can actually put that in with a formula. So IS, this follows LaTeX, so if you know how to type in with LaTeX, otherwise you can, I just type that in with LaTeX, it's a underscore, and then you type in the abbreviation. If you don't know that, you can use the symbols and go through there. So IS times R, and then just where R equals 2 ohms. So, and IS equals 3 amps. So V is equal to, and then I'm going to put note that the current flow is flowing from right to left, and so has a positive polarity on the right side and a negative polarity on the left, which is opposite the labeling for V here. Therefore, V equals -3 times 2, which equals -6 volts. All right, and then I'm going to copy that also into the wrong answer, just so that students have information if they did get it wrong, what they might have done wrong. And then for the second one, in the answers, I'm going to put, let's see, this was box 2. In box 2, note that this labeled current is flowing opposite the set current from the current source. Therefore, answer is -3 amps. This is box 3. So I'm going to go copy the answer from the voltage across the resistance, and just here say note that the voltage across the resistance is this. Taking a KVL loop is plus 12 minus V minus V box 3 equals 0. V box 3 equals 12 minus a minus 6, which equals 18. And then I'll copy that also on the wrong answer. So students have an explanation. And then this one is box 4. And I'm just going to copy again the labeling of the current is opposite that set. This one was box 5, which is again the same. Labeling is opposite, so minus, or the same. The labeled current is same, is flowing in the same direction as the current source. Make sure it saves all these. And then after I've done this, I'm going to refresh the page again and show the question details. Also, I'm doing this in Chrome. It does seem to have some issues with Safari, so definitely do these with the Chrome browser. As I go through here, I just make sure the solutions, I already checked the solution was correct, and now I'm checking that each one has an answer that I've created in there. So now that I've created them here, I can actually copy them over. And I'm going to actually go back and now delete, since I have all these here, I'm going to delete it from the quizzes section. So I'm going to delete it here since I did copy it all over. And then I'm going to now create a generic one that I'm going to put in to the different databases. So I'm going to just take a screenshot here, and then I'm going to use, I use Notability. You're welcome to use whichever, I think you have OneNote, but Notability is the one I'm going to show you here. So I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to put it into the Notability, and I can paste it. And sometimes it doesn't work, so you can also send it from here into the Notability. So I'm going to create a new note. I have these. Where do I want to create this? These are for my generic ones, so I'm going to create change the title. So this is Circuit U Quiz 1, and then I'm going to import it, creating a new note in that generic one. I'm going to open it up, and from here then I can just kind of write, I can erase things. Oops. So I'm going to call these generic values here. So I'm going to just erase all these, and then oops. Then I'm going to label these more generic terms. So and call this V1. I have convert because I don't know what happened there. or it may not work. You can just write it. So I'm going to call this V1. I'm going to call this R1. And then I'm going to call this I1. And then for each of these, I'm just going to copy and paste this circuit. Paste it as an image so I can size it better. And then I'm going to recreate those 5 problems. So here, don't remember all of them. So going back to here, box 1 was the polarity, and I could change across this one. So I'm going to do this in a color. So I'm going to say VX. And then this one for problem 2, I wanted to find the current flow. So I'm going to do this. Actually, I'm going to do it the opposite way again. So opposite, and then I'm going to call this IX. And then 3 was the voltage across the current source that went plus to minus. Just going to call that VY. And this one was the current on this wire. Call that IY. And this one was the current in this branch, or in this about here. And let's call it I3. So just some generic variables. And then I'm going to now copy each of these into the appropriate database. So going to quizzes. Actually, I'm going to copy these over first. I think that'll be easier. So going to the manage question bank and going back to that original Circuit U problems, and then I'm going to copy these over. So I can move copy question to another bank. So I'm going to keep the questions there because these are the original, and then I'm going to move them over to the appropriate ones. So this one is using Ohm's law. So I'm going to go down to the unit 1 Ohm's law. So I find it there, and I'm going to move over this first one. The second one was the box 2. So that was about the current sources. So I can see if any circuit symbols. So probably still charge and current. So maybe put it here, charge and current. And then box 3 was a KVL. So this one's going to go into the unit 1 KVL. There it is, KVL. And then this one was, I think the box 4 again was the current. So that's probably current sources, current, charge and current. And then this one was also charge and current. So now I'm going to go in and modify those problems within the question bank itself. So I had the unit 1. Where did it go? Charge and current. So those were where some of the new ones were. So let's see, which one did I, okay, so here's a current. So this will be one of the problems. Okay, this one was box 5. So this one. And I can just replace it with this image. And I can size it to be smaller. See what medium looks like. Medium looks pretty reasonable. And then enter. So with this one, I'm going to create this to be a formula question instead, and then enter the value for and then this would be I5 or I3, I think. I call it I3, yeah. Enter the value for I3. And then I usually put a line, and then I'll put the units for them, and then write answer in the form of, and then specify what to write the answer in the form of. And then also on here, you're going to need to let V1 and then you're going to put in the brackets the variable. So R1 equals bracket R1. And then I1 and then the bracket of I1 in amps. And then that creates the variables. As you saw, I was typing those in, those variables get created. And so you can change the ranges. So some of these you may want to do as negative. So having a voltage source that goes from -10 to 10, and then R1, to 10,000. And then I1, I'm also going to do -10 to +10. And then the result is going to be that I3 equals the same as I1. So you would just put I1 here. And since I is given in a whole number, I'm just going to change this to write answer in to the nearest whole number. If you do have dots in there, then or decimal points in there, then you would want to make sure that you're doing it to the 4th decimal place to always compute it. And then you're going to put your tolerance in relative to how many digits out it's rounded to. So here I'm generating 100 possible value combinations. And you can see here, oh, there's some zeros. So I1, I'm probably not going to do 0 here because otherwise it will give me a lot of zeros. So I'm going to do 10 to 50. And then I'm going to regenerate those just so they're a positive number. And then I need to edit the solutions. So note that this label, that this current is flowing in the same direction as the source, therefore it equals a positive polarity of I1. All right, so that updated that one, and then we're going to edit. This one is box 4, so this is the one by the current source. And then this one, I'm going to change this to have the answer is negative I1. And then I'm going to go get the circuit, which is this one. And then when I did medium, that looked good. So I'm going to just do that same size. And then I'm just going to copy and change this again to formula. And I'm going to copy this question that had everything already typed out. And then I'm going to change this was IY. And then still, you'll have to change these again. So I'm going to do a negative 10 to 10 to 10,000, and then to 50. And then this one is going to be a negative I1. And then again, 100 options. And then I'm going to save that. And then the last one is box 2. Which was this one. And then again, I'm going to get those. So I'm just copying. And then this one was called IX. And then this is again going opposite, so I'm going to change these. So the answer is negative I1. That changed those. And then, oh, didn't do formula question. And then to 10,000. 50, and then this one is going to be a negative I1. And generate all of the solutions. Then I'm going to refresh the page after I've done that on the page, show the question details, and just make sure that it is correct. So this one for IX is opposite, so it should be negative I1, and it looks like it is. And this one is a negative I1 again, and the solution looks correct and the answer looks correct. And then this should be a same polarity, so a positive I1, and it is. And so those are done. And then I'm going to go back to the question banks after I've checked everything. And then I go to the next question bank that I needed to alter, which was the KVL. So that was current. And I did one in Ohm's Law and then one in KVL. So here's the Ohm's Law one, which was box 1, which is the voltage across it. So go and copy that one. And that one was this one. then change it to medium. And then I'm going to bring up I'm just going to put these side by side here so I can copy from one to not have to go back and forth. So I'm going to open up the other. Which was charge and current. And I'm just going to copy these, or you can retype them again, but I find copying them is easier. So it's going to put that in, and then here I want to find Vx. And so this will be in volts, and then this is changed to a formula. And this is going to be a negative I1 times R1. Change it to the decimals, and then, let's see, I'm going to do negative 10, even though they don't use this, 10,000 again, and then to 50. And that's going to be huge. So I'm going to actually change this to milliamps. So then minus I1 times 10 milli, 10 to the minus 3 R1, which then gives me a more reasonable number. And so now I could generate, and since this has 2 decimal places, I usually find about 3%. Some of them may need to be 5%. But if you go out 2 decimal places and then I want them to write the answer in the form of 2 decimal places. And then, so you can see on each of these, this is going to, their final answer, like for the first one here would be a negative 236.59. Typically that's enough that they get those correct. But if you get questions as far as people are missing those. So here I'm going to change the solution. And sometimes you may want to like write out the solution when it's more involved in the Notability or whatever app you're using. Let's see, so this is going to be a negative I1R1, say negative I1R1. Don't know where that went, but oh, it's up here, that's why. Okay. And then here it's given there, and then just say, note that the current is flowing from the right to left, and so has a positive polarity on the right and negative polarity on the left, which is opposite the labeling of V here. So I write the solution in the generic form and update that, and then I'm going to go do the same thing with the last problem. Let me know if you have any questions about